This actually belongs to a friend of mine who found this. It belonged to his father, and he's had it in his possession since he was a kid. And knowing that I've been doing these restorations, he thought it'd be cool if I took a look to see what I could do to clean it up. Now this is an old Shur-Snap Colonial Switchblade knife. I believe they were made from like the 30s to the 50s, somewhere in there. And so this is pretty old. It's not super high quality made, but it's a really cool old knife. And to clean it up, the first thing I really felt like I had to do was to remove the pins. The pins are pressed on. This knife really was never made with the intent of being disassembled. But to clean it up, I felt like this is what I needed to do first. Felt like I could replace the pins when I was done. So that was my first order of business, to get it cleaned out. And this gave me a chance also to see the mechanism. The lock on the switchblade button, pretty simple concept, just a little spring holding up the button so you can't push it down. This is similar to like a liner lock, actually. The mechanism to release the blade is just kind of a little liner lock type button. I'm also noticing that the knife is pinned together with rivets that I won't be able to remove. So since I can't remove it, I wanted to try to see what I could do still to improve the spring of the knife. So this is looking down inside at the spring. I decided to just kind of pry it up a little bit to try to give it a little bit more spring. I did this actually a couple times, tested it a couple times until it was noticeably a little bit better at opening. I really actually like the sound that the knife makes when it opens up. Now, with that done, it was time to kind of clean up these scales. They're just real basic plastic scales, but they have some rust residue. This one was broken slightly prior to disassembling it. This little piece, actually, I could hear it rattling around before I took apart the knife. Really, these end pieces, they're just a little bit dirty. They've a little bit of rust where the chrome polish had come off. I shined them up a bit, and then it was time to get back to the scales and clean them up with some isopropyl alcohol, which did a little bit on some of it. It really wasn't making as much of a difference as I was hoping, although it did clean up some of the rust residue that was left from some of the pins. I then tried washing it just in some hot water with soap, dish soap, and toothbrush, scrubbing it. This did a little bit also, but really it was like a 800 grit sandpaper on the insides of the scales that really cleaned up those extra marks. Then, after cleaning up the rust with the wire brush, I tried polishing it up a little bit with sandpaper. It made a little bit of a difference, but the pitting, it's hard to deal with. So I moved on to the blade. Sanding the blade, I started out with a 340 grit and worked my way up to a 2000 grit. With that done, I went back to the liners, which are brass, and just cleaned them up a bit with a wire brush. It was then time to reassemble the knife. All the parts were basically cleaned up and ready to go. I really like the way that sounds when it opens up. Once I finished the assembly, I still needed to do a little bit more cleaning up with the wire brush, some of where I hammered, and just trying to clean up that pitting. I wish the pitting was gone, but it's not. And that really finished it up. This is a great old knife that I hope my friend will be able to enjoy again. He's actually thinking of maybe putting this up on eBay. If he does, I'll let you know. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. Look for opportunities to give those old things new life. And we'll see you on the next video. Ciao. Super fun. I love that sound. It's a cool little knife. I'm sure my buddy played with it a lot as a kid. Makes you feel like, I don't know, like West Side Story, like a jet, or I don't know. It was cool. Ciao.